Welcome back, everyone. It is now March 9th of 2020, and ever since the release of Star Wars Episode 9, a lot of fans have been very worried or excited about the future of Star Wars by Disney and Lucasfilm, and exactly how they're going to handle the brand new Star Wars universe that is currently being developed as we speak. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing about Star Wars is that we do know that a lot of fans have been very much fed up with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy. Now, thankfully, as of right now, Kathleen Kennedy no longer has creative control over many of the existing projects that are in the early development phase. Now, what does this really mean for the future of Star Wars? Well, this means that we're going to have different tones with the future movies, with the future TV shows, coming to Disney+, the animated TV series, you name it. Now, with that being said, what's really intriguing about all of this is that when we look at everything related to Kathleen Kennedy, is that a lot of things really happened in a negative way for Episode 9, not just for the Star Wars community, but also for the cast and the crew for the production of the film behind the scenes. A lot of those changes and adjustments were actually all initiated by Kathleen Kennedy herself, in, of course, 2018 and, of course, in 2019 as well, in the second phase of reshoots and rewrites, which is exactly why the film feels very convoluted or very rushed at times in the beginning and in the middle. Now, with that being said, what's really intriguing is that now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with the Skywalker saga, they are focused on their new Star Wars universe, also known as their new expanded universe. It's explained that Disney has multiple plans in place in order to reunite the fans around the world to create a better future for Star Wars in general. However, it's noted that The Rise of Skywalker was by far the most difficult production out of the sequel trilogy films for Disney, and that this was mainly due to Kathleen Kennedy. It's explained that one of the big changes to the film had to do with Kathleen Kennedy deleting many of Luke Skywalker's scenes from the movie, and that some of those scenes will actually be told in the novelization and future books and comics. It's explained that behind the scenes, Mark Hamill was very angry and frustrated with Kathleen Kennedy for deleting his scenes from the film, as this was his final shot at returning as Luke Skywalker in a significant and more respectful way for the fans, where it's actually noted that both Mark Hamill and Kathleen Kennedy had discussions on the decision to delete a majority of Luke's scenes, and it left Mark Hamill very frustrated with that decision in particular that she made to the film in order to make the film cater to a general audience and to the common moviegoer. Now, it's noted that this was Kennedy's idea and her way to focus more on the new characters like Rey, Finn, and Poe, etc., and that Kathleen Kennedy was not impressed with Mark Hamill's improvised dialogue that was approved by J.J. Abrams on set for the film. So, let's get into that, the improvised dialogue. I don't know if you guys know this story, but J.J. Abrams allowed a lot of the main character actors and actresses to improvise their own dialogue for their character, which could very well be the reason as to why there are times where the dialogue seems very cringy for characters like Poe and Finn, at least to me. But when we look at the character of Luke, originally Mark Hamill had a lot of scenes for this movie, and within those scenes, Mark Hamill actually wrote his own dialogue in his own head on set, coming up with improvised dialogue right off the bat. Now, J.J. Abrams allowed this in order to create a more natural version of Luke, because he knows that Mark Hamill knows the character best, and that he and George Lucas, Mark and George, actually know the character of Luke very, very well. And Mark has talked about, how he wanted Luke to be used in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and what he had hoped for in The Rise of Skywalker. That never actually got to see the light of day. So, what's really unfortunate is that Kathleen Kennedy disagreed with this. She had creative differences once again on the improvised dialogue provided by Mark Hamill, and how she was not impressed with any of that, and that led to a series of deleted scenes that included Luke Skywalker, either in the forms of flashbacks or in the forms of a Force ghost. Now, we got one flashback in The Rise of Skywalker that involved both Luke and Leia. We were supposed to get a handful of other flashbacks involving Han Solo, a young Ben Solo, and others like Luke Skywalker's Jedi students, and a lot more. So, the thing with this is that Kathleen Kennedy, this is once again a prime example that she is very incompetent as the head of Lucasfilm. She doesn't really know exactly what she's doing over there. In fact, I personally do believe that Kathleen Kennedy has a personal agenda of what she actually just wants to do just because, and that she knows exactly what she's doing. I feel like that she's very much aware of what she's doing with these particular choices for the Rise of Skywalker and so on and so forth. But like I say, thankfully she no longer has creative control over at Lucasfilm. She's only in charge of the marketing and the roadmap that is currently being developed of these Star Wars films and projects, etc. That, of course, being the timeline. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.